Hey guys, and welcome back to the Hobby Dude 007 channel. Today we're going to be back on our Saturday night short track group build 71 Mustang, and I'm going to show you today how to do some scratch building, or how I do it anyway. We're going to be doing the rear Nerf bars that protect the fuel cell as well as the front bumpers. Great thing back in the day in the 70s and into the 80s, a lot of the teams had free reign on certain configurations of roll cages, support bars, the inside framing, Nerf bars, that kind of stuff. And if you're going to do a replica, it probably is going to require a little bit of scratch building here and there. So I want to show you how we're going to build the supports for the fuel cell and again that front bumper. So let's get started. Okay guys, so this is what we're going to be replicating. You see in this picture the Nerf bar around the bottom of the fuel cell and the back of the car, and you notice that comes out at an angle from the chassis, and you've got two vertical supports right there in the center and the back too. So we'll be replicating that and getting everything centered up on the back of the chassis. Is not really that hard, and we're going to go step by step on how we're going to bend our plastic and all that stuff too. So next up, we're going to be taking a look at that front bumper. As you see here, you've got a bar that's actually mounted to the top of the bumper, and then you've got your supports through there, and it's going to have to bend to the shape of the front of the car too. So we'll get to that next, but we're going to focus on the fuel cell and around the back. So let's get going. As you can see here, we have our fuel cell. You saw this in the last one. I started to paint this yesterday and then realized I haven't done this yet, and I'm going to need to take it in and out and in and out until I get this done, so I decided to hold off. We've got it dropped in there, and so we need our dimensions down from here for those vertical supports too. So what we're going to do is, don't make it complicated. I'm going to take and I'm going to put this right here at the 10-inch mark. And so we've got roughly 2 inches across here, and I'm going to add an inch to each side. So we're going to have, I don't know, it doesn't need that much. So let's go 1/2 inch to each side. And then we'll cut right there. And this doesn't have to be exact at this point, guys. And what I'm going to do is we're going to center this up. And we'll get my Murphy's rule. You can use the dial caliper here too, and I'm going to go from that bar right there out 128. Okay, that needs to come over just a little bit till I get it pretty even. And again, this doesn't have to be exact. But I want to get it as close as possible. Look at there, that's pretty good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to mark right in the corner there at the edge of the fuel cell on both sides. And this is going to have to, as we said, or you saw in the pictures, excuse me, this is going to have to come from right about here over to the fuel cell. So it's going to have a kicked angle at it, but it still mounts to the frame. But what I've just done here is I've created my marks for the bends. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my micro torch, and I might have to do this off camera because I don't have enough hands. But I'm going to fire this thing up, and right here where the mark is, I'm going to turn this, and then I'm going to bend it just a little bit. Another way you can do this, and I've done this way before too, is you can take the fuel cell out, and you can actually, in fact, I will just do it because it's the same effect. We get it right there at that corner, and I'll go ahead and make a little bit of a bend right there, just like that. Let's see what that'll spring back some, but that way I know right where that mark is. But I put the mark on there, so it's no big deal. But if you didn't want to mark it, you could do it this way too. Now all I have to do is, once again, fire that torch up right there in that spot, and it only takes a split second, guys. Don't linger, and don't get too close to the flame either. Keep it a little further back, make your turn, and then slightly bend a little bit at a time on each side until you come up with the exact shape where it's going to come down. Well, let me get this out of the way here a minute. Where it's going to come down to the back there. And this is kind of the thing you'll get, but you don't want that bow in it right there. You want it straight, so that's why you're heating that too. So let me get that done real quick, and well, let me go ahead and show you the other thing too. We're going to take this other piece and kind of line that up right there. This is going to be the support that goes on the top of the fuel cell right here. And what I'm going to do is I'll go about halfway back, like right about there, and I'll measure that to be exact. Then I'm going to make a mark right there again. Then I'm going to bring this over to right here, and you see where that's right in that same joint. And I'm going to make a mark right there. Now once again, this side's going to be a little long, but I can even that up. Once I get this measured, then all I've got to do is cut the excess off there, and I can do that right now. Well, I'm going to use the Murphy's rule again. 12. 12. Not wearing my optivisor, guys. My vision's not that great. So from there to there is 12 is right there. Okay, so now we've got that even. And we'll be doing the same thing here. We're going to heat right where these joints are, and we'll make a bend. Now these will just be straight back on both sides. And don't let this stuff intimidate you, guys. As you can see, that's right there at those joints where the marks are. So we're going to be doing the same thing with our torch. We'll set this here. We'll give it just a little bit of a turn around, and then we'll make our bend right there. Same thing over here. Don't get, again, too close, because these things will melt very easily, very quickly. So let's go ahead and get these done. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the verticals as well too, guys. And what I mean by that is you see in this picture again the two vertical bars that come up from the bottom of the up to the chassis and mount. Now for this, the two sizes we're using, by the way, are Evergreen number 222, which is 62 thousandths or 1.6 millimeters. And that's what we're going to use on the bottom and the top. Now the vertical rods or posts are going to be number 221, which is 47 thousandths or 1.2 millimeters. So as you remember in the real picture, or the picture of the real car, they're actually a little bit smaller. So that's what we're going to be using here, and we'll be kind of doing the same thing on the front, but we'll talk about that when we get up there. But that's our two sizes that we are going to be working with. And to get those verticals, what I'm going to do is, and it's pretty simple, just the 47 thousandths. We're just going to come down to, let me turn this on, zero it. All right, and we're going to come down to the bottom of the fuel cell. Let's ease back just a little bit. Looks like about 6.5 millimeters should go down to the bottom of that bar. We'll check it on both sides, and that's pretty much the same there. So we know that our little pin supports are going to have to be 6.5 millimeter. That'll be an easy thing to do. We'll just drop that in there and take our hobby knife and chop it. As far as how to center it in the back of it, if you remember in the picture of the real car, those verticals were right at, on the back bumper, right to the edges of where the license plate indentation on the bumper went, which is, looks like that's about, we'll call it 13 millimeters. And what we'll do from the chassis is we'll deduct that, and I've already done it by the math. It would be 16.5 millimeters. Well, 16.5 millimeters from this edge to here, and the way I did that is just in the primer. Take a fuel cell out there. In the primer here, all I did was just let that kind of scrape it a little bit, leave an indentation in the primer, and then did this over here. And that lined it right up, and I don't know if you can see that in the light, but you can see the little indentations. Well, I hope you can. Yeah, there you go. You can see the little marks where I kind of scratched that on there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lay that bumper right up there, so it's just like the real car. And boom, look at that. Dead on. And to make sure that this is right when the body's on the chassis, what I'm going to do is, and y'all know me, I'm going to test fit everything. And no, the body's not in primer, but I had something else I had to do to it too. So we got that lined right up there. And as you see, well, it's kind of hard to see with the light, but, or the lack of, yeah, there you go. And you can see the pilot holes. I've already drilled the indentations where they're going to be kind of countersunk there for the two verticals, but they are right there. So everything lined up just right. And again, test fit, test fit, test fit. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and get these bends, get our torch out, get our bends in these two pieces here, and then I'll be right back. Stick around. That took less than 10 minutes to get these bent and get our supports cut, and that, guys, included the piece that I originally made for the upper. These pieces right here were too short, so I had to cut another one, mark it real quick, and I still got all this done in less than 10 minutes. If you mess up, it's not a big deal. Grab you another piece of plastic, or you can just redo what you've got there. I also went ahead, and where we had our little holes countersunk there for this vertical supports on the fuel cell, I went ahead and using some of the Tamiya Quickset glue, just put those in there. And let's go ahead and see how this is going to look. Got our fuel cell in, and again, these are bent to where they were going to line right up with the chassis, as you see there. I don't know if I can get them on the bar there, right? And there we go. All there is to it, guys. And the reason I did not flush these to the chassis yet was I wanted to make sure that these little vertical supports here, ooh, I can do it with one hand, were the right length to the bottom of the fuel cell. And as you can see, it is. And of course, this will be a lot cleaner once this is all glued up and dried, and we'll be doing that next. But as you can see, it's really not hard to do this. In fact, see that gap down between through there? I may shorten these just fraction more and bring that up to the bottom of the fuel cell a little bit more. Straight on, it looks about right. But I think I'd like, well, I don't know. Once I get the mounting section done here, then that may bring that up a little bit too. But I may shave just a little bit off there too, but that's how that's going to look. Now, moving up to the top side, where we had to, let me take this fuel cell out. If you remember, we just laid that right in those channels there. And as you can see, I'll press that into the channel. Oop. And there you go. And of course, this is going to be raised up a little, so you're going to get that look. And then you'll have these supports down here that are mounted that come up to it across there. Probably be about that high, maybe a little lower. And then our main bar is going to come down and connect to it. And that way, when the fuel cell is in it, you're still going to, there you go, be able to see. And that, with the bodies on it, that back panel is going to be flush right up there. So we've got that done. Let me go ahead and get this stuff glued up and mounted, and then we're going to move to that front bumper. Stick around. The rear section of the chassis is all glued up on the upper and lower side, and we're going to let that cure for a few minutes. And so while we're doing that, I want to go ahead and get this, as you see here, built for the top of the bumper. You notice just above the bumper there is a bar that is it's bolted technically to the bumper, and then you've got those the bars that come up over that, and then the two verticals there in the middle. And also notice there's verticals below that go down to the lower air dam, and we'll deal with that as we get to it. But first thing up, let's see what we're going to be using for this. And on the front, we're going to go, we use the 62 thousandths rod on the rear, and then the 47 thousandths for the supports. And we're going to be doing 47 thousandths on the top of the bumper to make that long bar there. And then we're going to do the, as you see, remember, it's smaller. We'll do the 40 thousandths. So what we're going to be using is evergreen number 221 and number 211. So it's 47 thousandths or 1.2 millimeter and 40 thousandths 1 millimeter. So we're going to get these cut up and bent. And first thing we need to do is we got to figure out how long that bar is on there. So let's start at, let's say 45 millimeter. And let's just see how close we are here. So 45 millimeter. And if you remember, it stops a little bit. Now that looks a little short, actually. I think that needs to be a little bit longer. So let's go to 50, and we can come back down from there if we need to. 50 millimeter. And you know what, guys? I think 50 millimeter is going to be right on the money. So let's do that. And let's see what we're dealing with here. In inches, we're looking at 50 millimeters is, oh, cool. Look at it, exactly 2 inches. So we'll get our 47 thousandths or our 1.2 millimeter, and we'll cut us a section of that. Two inches. One, 2. 2 inches right there. All right. And we know that just slight bend, and it's going to be very slight on the front of the bumper here. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, that's plenty. Okay, so we'll take our pencil. We'll go to, let's see, 1-2 inches, and we'll mark right there in the center. So, and keep in mind too, guys, that remember this is going to have to be just a very small bend, because it's not a dramatic. It's just slightly. To give you an idea, where's my hood? You see just the slight angle of the hood there, so it's just going to have to be slight, because this just comes under the hood. So as you see there, it's going to have to be very little. So we're going to get that right in the middle. I'm going to use my pointer. It's got these little grooves in it here. And we're going to get right in the center and make ever so slight. And that may be, believe it or not, that may be too much. Actually, I think that's too much. Let's straighten that up just a touch. Make it just a little bit. There we go. Hey, where's our hood? We'll take a look at it again that way. Oh, check it out. We'll do just a touch more. And of course this is going to be glued down. Check that out. And this is going to be just below the hood, but you still want it to be, I just couldn't ask for any better than that. That's spot on. Hey. Everybody gets lucky every now and then. All right. And like I said, we're going to use the 1mm from the 47, or excuse me, the 1.2mm on the bottom, and then that top hoop's going to be the 1mm. So I'm going to go ahead and get this glued on and let that cure for a few minutes. I'm going to use the Tamiya Quick Set. Let that cure, and then we'll go ahead and cut out probably a 3.5 inch piece of the 1mm, and then we'll start to shape that around to this, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, stick around. Okay, guys, so I want to go ahead and show you what we've gotten done today. We started this around 3:30ish, somewhere in there, I think, and it's a little bit before 8 o'clock. A lot of that time I've spent just waiting on stuff to dry so I could kind of move to the next thing. But let's take a look at what we've done so far today. As you saw, all that stuff that we shaped and cut out got glued up on that rear end. And here is what we did in the rear. Now the down bars that come from the hoop on the roll cage are going to come down and meet right in here on both sides. But we've got our protection for a fuel cell in there, a little bit of extra reinforcements to protect it. And here, let me get the fuel cell in there real quick, let you take a look. There we go, drops right in. As you see, I think this is really going to look good. Got some cleanup to do in a couple of spots back here, back here, and a couple of spots up on the top here, but it's not a big deal. But I think that looks really good. I think that turned out well. And on the front bumper, as you see here, and here is our bumper for the front, and you'll see in the front here from the side that's kind of kicked forward a little bit, and we even have the two little pins that come down to the lower air dam down here. Those are in there. I would put this on the car, but this has not been finished that long, so I don't want to put it on there and risk, oops, well, maybe doing what I just did. Did I bend anything? No, everything looks straight. But when I was test fitting it, I was measuring everything, and that gives you kind of a look without me pressing it in. The front end. I know that's a little close, guys, but did I bend anything? Just a little bit. This is, like I said, this needs to dry a little bit more. But let me back the camera off here a little bit more so you can kind of get a feel for it. But we're going to let this cure overnight. Yeah, there we go. Well, it's not in the space, but there you go. So I think it's looking pretty good. I'm kind of pleased with it. And by all means, guys, if you've got an idea or something for an easier way to do it, please let me know. I'm always up for learning anything and everything new. But I'm really pleased with that front bumper. I think that turned out really well. Like the car, as well as the rear end. So that's just how easy it is, guys. And the big thing is, just do it. And if you make any mistakes, it's no big deal. Easy to set. Oh, like I said, we're going to let this cure overnight, and then we'll get some cleanup done down here and up here, and we'll get some primer on it, and we'll start probably tomorrow. I'm going to be working on some tires. I may do a quick video on scuffing tires. I have a, let me find it here, a little contraption that's part from a pine wood derby thing and part model stuff that I've got different pieces for that I just chuck in my Dremel or in my drill and scuff the tread area of whether it's a street car, race car, doesn't matter. If you want to do scuffed up tires, easy way to do it with your drill or your Dremel. So we'll be looking at that a little bit. Maybe do a little demo on some other tires and stuff too. Okay, guys, that's it for the night. Head over to HobbyNut Models as always. Check out Mark's inventory. Pick you up some paint. Check out the tools and supplies. And I think that's it, guys. Appreciate you again tagging along. I really do appreciate the support, the subs, the thumbs up. Even those thumbs downs, hey, it all counts toward the channel as an engagement. So, hey, I'll take them all. So, guys, hope y'all have a great weekend. God bless, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.